All right, hello and welcome to another episode of Success Weekly. I'm your host, James Theris, and we've got a very special guest, as you can see to my left here. This is my brother from another mother. This is true. We got Sensei Jadi Tention online with us today. We are currently at the Martial Arts Super Show 2017, which is, I think, the 16th annual one of these. And
Is it 16 or 15?
I think it's 16.
Okay.
And Sensei Tension just finished teaching a stellar seminar here at the Super Show for a packed house, and it took him, I don't know, about an hour to sign autographs and take pictures and things afterward. He's got a lot of new fans out here. So anyway, I wanted to kind of pick your brain for a moment because I know you didn't have any silver spoons
No.
on your way up through competition. And so this podcast is all about success and the principles that make people successful. So take us back into the beginnings of your training and trying to get on to the Paul Mitchell team and some of the pitfalls that you made back then. What was keeping you from being able to get onto that team? What did you learn from that, and what kind of shifts did you make to become successful and from there?
So do you want me to start from from the competitive stage when I was started as competing, or I just started training in the martial arts?
Probably right when you started training in martial arts and how it kind of led you there and what kept you plateaued and things like this.
Okay, so my mother was about 13 years old, and my mother said that to me. She said, "I can make you a gentleman, but I can't make you a man." And she said, "You need to be around other men." And the karate school had several, strong big men in there, and she put me in the martial arts school. So I started training, and my instructor, who was Professor Sharif Nasheed, one day decided he was going to take me to a tournament. So I was a green belt. I took first place in forms. I lost in fighting, and I was like, "Man, I really like it. I really like it a lot. I want to continue to do it." Then he took me to another tournament 2 years later, which is the Battle of Baltimore, and I won first place in fighting, first place in forms. I was still a brown belt. Then he took me to Charlie Lee's, and so he was taking me to these tournaments. And I was like, "Russ, I really like doing this. If it's okay, I'd like to continue." So he moved to Washington D.C. His job changed, and he moved to Washington D.C. And he left the school with the other higher ranks. Now these guys wasn't really into competition, so they would say, I would say, "Can we go to tournament?" Or, we're not going to tournaments. We're not a tournament school. Self-defense. And I was like, "Yeah, but I have to go do some tournaments." It was like, no. So uh, my mother said to me, she said, "Is that really what you would like to do?" I said, "Yeah, I really would like to do it." She said, "Then don't let anyone stop you from doing it." So I told my instructor, I said, "Listen, you left. You told me to have the other black belts take me. They don't want to take me, so I'm going to go find a place to train." I didn't have any place to train. I didn't know anybody, so I went to a tournament. And then not my instructor, I ran into a friend of mine named, he wasn't my friend at the time. He was a guy who was a top fighter who I went to watch. So I'm sitting at a table with him, and I'm sitting at a table, but I didn't know who he was. I just went to watch. I saw the flyer. So I'm sitting at a table with him. He goes, "Hey, man, you look really familiar. What's your name?" I said, "My name is Jadi." He says, "Hey, my name is Jesse Ray." I was like, "You Jesse Ray, the guy that's fighting on this flyer?" He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, man, would you mind? Where you from?" He said, "I'm from the Bronx." So I was like, "I'm from the Bronx," which is he was like maybe half a mile from my house. So I said, "Can I come and train with you?" He said, "Sure." This is 1993. He kicked my butt for about a good 5, 6 years, man. I mean, but he would always be encouraging. He always said, "You're gonna be good one day. You're gonna be good one day." And then I just started competing, and then so I started competing as a black belt, and I was getting smashed, and I was getting my butt kicked. I was losing a lot of tournaments, and he would just say, "You're gonna be good one day." And then one day, I tried out for a team. The team told me I wasn't gonna be that good, and this was the coach said. He said, "You're not gonna be that good. You talk a lot, and you're not going to be that good," because I was trying to stand up for Jesse getting a better sponsorship. He said, "Well, who are you to tell me he should get a better sponsorship and you're not that good?" So I told him, I said, "One day I'm going to be really good one day." He goes, "Yeah, whatever." And I told Jesse, I said, "Listen, Jesse, I'm going to start training twice a day. I'm going to start reading some success books. I'm just going to take it to another level." And I did that, and then I got picked up on a team called Team Elite. The Team Elite guy was that's not so loud. The Team Elite guy was a millionaire that I didn't know was a millionaire. He was always as my friend, but I didn't know he was a millionaire. Wasn't very unassuming. And he says, "Johnny, man, you know what? You're getting pretty good. You're getting pretty good. I'd like to put you on my team." So I was like, Hey, okay, sure. I wasn't winning anything. So I went in Minnesota. We fought pretty good. My team was losing. I brought him back, and then I fought the number one fighter in the country, whose name was Brian Root. And this guy beat me up, kicked my butt, and wouldn't shake my hand. I don't know if he wouldn't shake my hand because he didn't like me because we didn't know each other, but I think his arrogance was so he wouldn't shake my hand. And I wrote his name on a piece of paper. I put it on my refrigerator. I put it in the school, and all I did was study him until I ran into him a year later. I beat him, and then when I beat him, everybody was like, "Who's this guy beating the number one fighter in the country?" Then I beat him the next tournament, and then it was like, then I beat him the third tournament, and then once I beat him, uh, honestly, I had every team in the country, including Paul Mitchell, make me an offer. So they made me an offer. I didn't want to fight with Paul Mitchell. I wanted to beat Paul Mitchell. So I told him I think about it. And I remember Coach Don Rodriguez like, "You think about it." He gave me that look like, "This is Paul Mitchell. You think about it." I was like, "Yeah, I think about it." And
So let's back up. Did the guy shake your hand after you beat him the third time?
this was funny. That's just a great question. He didn't really shake my hand because the second time we fought, when I beat, he saw me the second time. Then it was like, "This is the guy that beat me the last time. Let me get him." And then I beat him again. And that's the third time was he came to New York City a tournament. He flew from Kentucky.
Just to find you.
Yes.
Yep.
And he stood right next to me like this. and I beat him again. And I think at that point when he realized that this guy is good, it wasn't luck, it wasn't. And then he kind of like did like that to me. And then right after that, he was on Paul Mitchell. So when when Paul Mitchell asked me, and I told him I didn't want to fight with them, I wanted to beat them because they were the standard. And my mother said to me, she says, "Is anybody in your circle training like those guys?" And I said, "No." She said, "You need to put yourself around guys who want what you want the way you want." And so I finally.
And that was your mom.
It was my mother.
So your mom has had a huge impact on your success, it sounds like.
Oh, listen, I wanted a quicker ride. I was just about to get my black belt. I was 18, and she told me I'm not allowed to. And I said, "Well, I'm 18 years old. I don't see the big deal. If I'm 18, I should be able to make the choices." And she said, "There are no quitters in this family." And as long
I want to meet your mom.
Yes, she was like, "As long as your last name is Tention and you live in my house, you do what I say." And she was the kind of woman that you couldn't go back. You couldn't go back to her and have a conversation about what she said you wasn't going to do because it was one of these come like, "Didn't I have that conversation with you?" So I knew better. And that crossroads when I wanted to quit and her not letting me was probably one of the most single best things that she ever did for me because it opened up to all of this. I mean, went to my own school, and man, that's why I really try to take care of my mother extremely well because it wasn't for her guidance, I wouldn't be in the situation that I am right now.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm as a martial arts instructor, you can probably relate to this as much as I can. And there's so many parents that the minute their child doesn't enjoy it anymore, they're right at the cusp of making a big breakthrough, and they're dealing with some frustration because it's not fun when we're not any good at it, right?
Yes.
So they try to take the pressure off by saying, "Well, I don't want to make him do anything that he doesn't want to do." And they don't realize how later in life that's going to hurt them. Kind of like the little boy that finds the cocoon and tries to tear it open to help the butterfly fly.
Yes.
And actually hurts him in the long run, right? So, yeah, you had exactly what you needed for a mother, and so many parents are afraid to be parents. They want to be friends with the kids.
Yep.
And I mean, you're a walking testament to.
Man, I'm like I said, if she sent me and I couldn't leave, I would be sitting at somebody's desk right now with regret, wondering what could have been, should have been, would have been. And she just had that vision. She said, "You're not going to quit." She was the first. She was also the one who told me to open up a school. And I remember opening up a school, and I said, "I'm going to charge $80 a month." And she said, "No, we're going to start with 100." And I was like, "Well, I don't want anybody." And she punched the table. She said, "Listen, they're going to pay you 100. Stop lowering your level." And she just always instilled that. This was 2002, and but my mother, when I started competing, the thing with Paul Mitchell, to go back to that, when I got on the team, that's when me and Brian Root started speaking. We really wasn't, we never really had a tight connection, but the respect was established. He would be like, "I respect you, man. You give me one of the hardest times I ever had." So, we started being cordial to each other at that point. But it transitioned from me. I was tired of losing, I wasn't content, and I just took that extra step to get better. And then I keep and what I did was I started seeking out some of the best instructors, going to their house, sitting there for weeks, and I just started studying their habits and their ways. And then I would try to come back to the school and just do whatever they showed me. I would drill it 5,000 times, find a drill to make it harder, and I would just, just train, man, for this thing. So I love the competing, the passion of it. I never made excuses if I lost. I hated losing. I would do whatever it was to avoid that feeling. And I always felt like I wanted to put myself in a position that I deserved to. Not because of my physical gifts, just because of my work ethic was just so high that when I looked at that person, I knew that I worked on an Easter, Christmas, 4th of July, whatever holiday or advantage I could take, I would do that to be able to be successful at this particular activity. And I just try to apply that with everything now.
So how do you think that translates into non-martial arts success, especially the hating to lose? Just in overall success. So let's say somebody stops doing martial arts and they start doing soccer, or they decide to go to college, or they decide to get married. And how does that skill translate into success in these other things outside of the martial arts?
I think success is a mindset. I think that it is whatever it is that you want to be successful with, the same concepts apply. I'll give you a perfect example. I remember fighting a really good fighter, world class, and I beat him in the grand championship by one. And I was so upset that it was only by one, that the level that the level that I held myself to, at everything that I do, I try to do that way. So when I opened up my school, and there was a mentality that I had to eventually get to with everything. Like, no matter how difficult something is, I put myself in a fighter's mindset. Like, okay, don't put your emotions into it. Make the adjustments. Where's the fault that you had? And I just use that mindset with everything. And then if the school is doing good, I go, okay, that's still second place. I want grand. I want it all. I want more. I want to raise the bar. I want it. So anything that I did, as far as training hard, sacrificing, doing twice a day, I apply those same principles to the principles of whatever I'm doing. If it's school, if it's in the relationship, if it's dealing with some knucklehead in the street about, like we just walked through the footwork today, and a person kicks at you and you can sidestep. But sometimes people give you nonsense and rumors and just gossip and negative energy, and I just sidestep. I use all those same principles. Like, I don't have to engage. I could just go, I'm going to let that pass me, and I'm going to make another adjustment over here. And I just try to apply all of that into whatever it is that I'm doing. And I've done that with my business, and it's just been really great for me. But in anything, I always tell my guys, whatever happens is your fault. And as long as if we don't blame judges and we blame ourselves, that we can always find a way to get better in anything that you do. So when I'm down and I feel to get those moments, when I'm emotional, when I'm mad at somebody, I go, wait a minute, no emotions. What is the task at hand? What part is your fault? Fix it. And then everything from that will come from that. Everything from there will come from that.
That's fantastic.
And that's just my mindset with everything.
So what were some of the things that like pitfalls that you had early on that kept you at a plateau that kept you from going? What was the missing ingredient?
You know what? I think satisfaction is a death of desire, right? I remember feeling like this. I remember I was winning, and I remember because there's levels to it, right? So I remember a guy named Nasty Anderson, who to me is Steve Nasty Anderson, and I just finished beating Brian Ruth, and he said to me, and this would change like my mentality, because I was working hard, I was training, and he says to me, Jadi, I watched you fight Brian Ruth. I said, he said, you beat him. I said, yeah. I said, yeah, I beat him. He says, I think that you're better than Brian Ruth. And me, with some kind of arrogance, I said, yeah, I think I'm better than Brian Ruth too. Like that, he looks at me and he goes, you are better than him. You're not that much better than him. And he said, and I just kind of like, oh, wow. And he said, you need to become that much better than him. And it made me work harder. Like, I was like, he is so right. Like, you got to become that much better. And it's just like, I don't want to be like this with the school owners around my community. I don't want to be like this with anything that I do. I don't want to be just a little bit. I wanted the separation from me and you to be so great, just based on my work ethic, the way my tribe is, the way I want to see things. And I think that one of the biggest plateaus is that You being the smartest person in the room at all times will kill you, man.
Absolutely.
It will kill you. That sometimes you have to put yourself around people that are, they don't have to be smarter than you in everything, but things that you want to attain, where you could just go in the room and learn to shut up. Like listen and silent are spelled with the same letters. Like just learn, just to sit in the room and learn the key to how to shut up.
Say that again. I don't know if our listeners caught that. Listen and
The
silent.
word listen and silent are spelled with the same letters. And
That's deep right there.
and I remember going to see Anthony Price in 1997. I didn't know him; he was a top guy. And I said, "Can I go to your school to train with you in Cincinnati?" He looked at me. He said, "Sure, come on." And I get to this school. I'm a young guy in there, and he's doing front kicks, and I'm going, "Man, ain't nobody doing no front kicks." But I'm behind him, so he's first throwing front kicks at the pad, and I'm getting real like I didn't come here for that. And no sooner than I said that, the second thought was, "He's the champ. And if you want what he wants, shut up and do what he does." And I just got in line, and he did front kicks, I did front kicks. He wiggled his fingers, I wiggled my fingers. And I just started trying to copy what I saw. What even if I didn't do front kicks, or even if I wasn't there, that was my arrogance of me trying to tell him what I thought he should have taught me. How are you going to come to somebody and tell them what you think they should give you? And I think that's that right there, getting that, like you said, the cocoon, leaving that old mindset to get a new mindset is the thing where the growth is, man. When you learn something, you unlearn it, you relearn it, you improve it. It's just like our curriculum. You always tweaking it. You're always tweaking your schedule. You always, it's the same thing. Nothing is forever. It's always something. So I think that mentality really helped me get through my lows and highs. I remember one low, I lost to the same guy, Trevor Nash, 3 times in a row. And this guy beat me. And the third time he beat me, they made such a big deal out of it. And I haven't lost to somebody 3 times in a row in years. And I didn't know what I did wrong. I literally didn't know. And I was like, man, what am I doing wrong with this guy? I got to figure this out. So I remember going to the school. I remember having this brown suit that I wanted to wear in Washington, D.C. the third time he beat me. And I had the suit, the shoes, playing everything. And all my friends like, are we going out tonight? I said, I'm not going out. I don't deserve it. It was like, come on, man. And I put myself on punishment for not doing what I was supposed to do. And I think the other thing is, we don't hold ourselves accountable. Like we always pat ourselves on the back or make ourselves feel good. And I put myself on punishment. I wanted to go out that night with him. I was like, nope, you don't deserve it. I left Washington, D.C. and got to the karate school at 6 o'clock in the morning. I started training and I didn't know what I was doing wrong. So I said, listen, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Let me work on all of my basics again. If I make my basics better, it'll make me better. And I started working on front kicks, jab, stuff that I left behind, and it made me better. I never lost to him again ever since that time. So I think that the one thing is, man, I remember this. It's not even to. I remember me complaining about something. My mother said, she said, young man, you're going to be emotional or you're going to rise into the thinking of God. And my mother said, when the sun rises and it goes up and down, that ain't got, God put a system in order, Jody. It ain't about what he feel like. When the seasons change, it's not about emotion. It's about you doing what you have to do despite how you feel about it. So she said, you're going to be emotional or you're going to rise into the thinking of God. And I never forgot that. And my mother would always drop jewels about your mindset, how it should be. And so I just, I think I was an obedient kid. Like when she said things, I didn't just go, whatever. So all of that kind of, those lessons to reflect on kind of got me through the rough patches when I wasn't winning as much, when I was losing, or when things get me. I got to always remember, you're going to be emotional or you're going to rise to the thinking of God and just get things done. Sun come up, the moon come out, no matter what.
That's powerful.
So.
Well, great. Okay. Well, we'll finish here with just any last thoughts on, let's say, if you had to boil down how to become successful with just three habits. What do you think those top 3 habits would be? The most common habits of successful people, top 3 things.
Everything is your fault.
Okay.
Not put yourself around people who are smarter than you. And I think being obedient. And what I mean by that is, to me, obedience is doing what you don't want to, even when you don't feel like it. It's not about somebody saying something the right way. It's just that you just have the mindset of, this is what must get done. I'm going to follow the directions, the route, no matter how I feel. And I think that, along with somebody giving you guidance and having the work ethic, all of those things, because it's just like on the floor. There are guys that are physically gifted than me, but they always feel like they got an answer. Just sometimes just shut up, man. Just take the information, absorb it, and just grow from it. And I think a lot like I come here and I empty my cup, man. I leave here and I want to come back even more successful. Like I ask you questions even about your business. I go to your school, I watch what you do. Guys that are successful, I watch them. I watch how they keep their school clean, how they talk, and I just go, you know what I'm watching is not about me. It's all about what they're doing. And I think that mindset is one of the things I think for me that allows me to constantly reinvent myself and constantly allows me to keep evolving is the humility, the obedience, and the work ethic. Those three things. And I think if any one of them is missing, you could be obedient, okay, but if you don't have the work ethic to follow through or the humility to get the information from somebody's greater than you in an area, then you're only going to go but so far. So you are the sum of the 5 people you hang around, and being the smartest guy in the room is one of the worst things that you could do at all times. So that's just what I think. If I had to say 3 things, I would look for somebody who's humble, who knows how to follow directions, and somebody who can bust their butt at work, who's willing to work hard.
All right. Well, we thank you, and our
Thank you,
listeners
sir.
thank you,
I
and
appreciate that.
look forward to seeing more from you.
This is my guy, Donahue, right here, man. This is the guy. He knows every hip hop song in the world. Thank you,
Well,
sir.
not every.
Good.